Hello, guys. We have Durjoy Biswas. He's a friend of mine over here, and he recently got an admission into IIM Indore into the integrated program of management. Now we're going to talk about his journey and how he got into the integrated management program and what he did to prepare himself for the IPM examination, which you all might know about, and what he did to prepare for the interview in particular. Now, if you do not know, then in the commerce line, there are two or three degrees available for you when it comes to the bachelor's. Now, there's BCom, which teaches you about accountancy and every aspect under the sun of commerce. It doesn't specialize into something, but it's more of a broader category. Now, there's BBA, which is bachelor's in administration, business administration. It's like the chota bhai of an MBA. It delves more into the administration aspect of business. Now we have bachelor's in economics, which is more on the arts or the science side. It's either BA in economics or BSc in economics. So it teaches everything under the sun when it comes to economics. Now these are three degrees, but there's one degree apart from that, which is relatively new. It's called the integrated program. Now what happens over here is you get an undergraduate degree and you get an admission into the postgraduate program also. Now it happens all together in a course of 5 years. Now that's what my friend Durjoy has gotten into IIM Indore. Now we're going to talk about that. So Durjoy, first of all, hi, and
Hi.
how are you doing?
Yeah, it's all good. Thank you for calling me and for this short interaction with you. It's been a long time we have talked together,
Hmm.
and it's great sharing my experience with you. So, let me begin. This IPN program.
Hmm.
So I didn't really know about this from a very long time, and it's relatively a new course compared to the other programs you talked about, like BCom, BBA, and Bachelor's in Economics. So this was started by IIM Indore in 2011, and it has got few changes over the years. The curriculum has changed. The degree granting process has changed after the IIM bill was passed. So previously, you didn't have the option to exit from the program after 3 years, but after the bill was passed, so the IIMs got the right to award the degrees after 3 years. So the degree we get after 3 years is Bachelor's of Arts in Foundations of Management.
Okay.
So if you get it after 3 years only if you leave the program. Okay. Otherwise, you get both the degrees at the end of 5 years. So that's basically about the degree and the time. So if I talk about the IPMAT examination, so as we all know this year, how it went for all of us, the batch of 2021, how the boards were first postponed and then eventually it got cancelled. So I didn't really have a lot of options previously. To be honest, I had the choice for, rather, I had interest in pursuing economics as my career. So my initial option, or rather, for everyone who wants to go and study from the best institutes in India, it's Delhi University and more commonly the SRCC or Hindu College. These are the renowned ones for economics.
Hmm.
So I also wanted to go there, but I didn't really have any other, didn't really interest me other subjects like BCom or BBA. I didn't really want to pursue those. So I was looking for other options, like in place of economics, if I can study something else which is closely related but not totally the same.
Hmm.
So I knew about this IPM program. I got to know it from one of my friend back in class 11, but I was not really interested because I thought back at that time that it was a BBA plus MBA.
Hmm.
So I didn't really think of it. But later I got to know that it's a BA program, and plus I actually made my plan to pursue MBA in my masters after completing my bachelor's in economics.
Hmm.
So I kind of thought that I should fill up the form because the application window was extended and I had 1 week left to fill up the form. So I filled it up and I was not really sure how to do it because people mainly focus, because this examination is not easy. Nearly 30,000 people took this examination this year and only 150 made it to the final list after
My God.
second or third list.
So what
Only
are like?
150.
Can you tell us what are the subjects and what do you need to study for this examination? What is the general environment and
Okay.
ecosystem around this exam? And what's it called? IPMAT, right?
Yeah, it's IPMAT, IPMAT. So it's IPMAT called like that. It's actually IPMAT, Integrated Programming Management Aptitude Test.
Okay.
So it's a computerized exam, and there are three sections basically. So first section you have short answers, quantitative ability. So you need to study the same maths that we all study for all the common entrance exams. It's
Hmm.
basically the same, the common trigonometry, some higher level maths like matrices and determinants, and other things like ratio, proportion, basic algebra, and all that.
That means
So
all
in
that we've been taught in class from class 9
yeah,
to
yeah,
10 and
yeah,
some things of
yeah.
a higher level.
Some things like the class 11 and 12, but other than that it's mostly the same till the things we are taught till class 10, but of the higher level, of course.
Okay.
So it's the same thing. So the exam is divided into three parts. The first one is the short questions, quantitative ability. The second one is MCQ based, again quantitative ability, and the third one is verbal ability. So for IIM Indore, we have these things. Another IPMAT is there for IIM Rohtak.
Hmm.
They have the logical reasoning too, which we don't have. The IIM
Okay.
Indore don't have. So that's there. That's the basic exam pattern. So you for our batch and for the previous batch, the exam pattern was a bit different compared to 2019. The questions were reduced and the time was also reduced. So we had around 60 questions, I guess. Yeah, I guess we had 60 questions, and the time limit was 1.5 hours.
Right.
So it was a computerized exam, and after that, you are shortlisted for the personal interview.
Hmm.
So
So we'll come to
this
that
time,
later,
I
but
guess,
first tell me what was your process when it came to the examination? Now I've heard that people prepare for 2 years all throughout their class 11 and 12,
yeah,
but
yeah,
you were something different. You were a different ballgame. So tell me about
yeah, yeah.
your journey for the preparation, only for the preparation of the examination.
Okay, so let me be honest about this. So I didn't prepare for it at all. I I really hardly prepared for it for 1 week or so. Okay, I had bought two books, but I didn't even open it for like, if I count it altogether, more than 24 hours. I
Hmm.
didn't practice any maths or anything. I was good at English and it helped me because
Hmm.
what I know and what I hear from a lot of people that uh, they they can qualify for the, like they cross the like they meet the cutoff, rather they meet the cutoff for the math section, but they can't meet the cutoffs for the verbal ability.
Hmm.
So I found the English part quite easy. For me, the maths was difficult. I don't know how I cleared that, uh, but yeah. So it was like that. I didn't really like prepared like I dedicated a lot of time to it, maintained a routine, and not like that. I have seen people. I've also seen there are some seniors who have taken 2 years drop for this exam,
My God.
and mostly this exam pattern actually, some of the questions are actually like quite high level, and uh, this exam is mostly attempted by science students because for most of them actually prepare for JE, so
Hmm.
they find the maths part a bit easier than us, like
Right.
compared to the commerce with math students, and there are even some non-math students, so they have to really work hard because the last time they did maths was in class 10, and it really doesn't match the standard of the questions that are asked in the IPMAT.
Right. Well, great. Now, so you're saying that you cleared IPMAT after 1 week or 2 weeks of preparation. Now,
Yeah, yeah.
that's godlike. But what happened after the clearing of the examination?
Okay, so the results were out in a week. I guess the exam was on 16th July, and the
Hmm.
results were out on 23rd July, just a day before the ISC results. So I was quite happy with the results, but after the next day only, I got sad seeing my ISC results. But it didn't really matter because I was shortlisted for the interview, which was indeed a great thing because
Right.
out of those 30,000 people, only 847 got shortlisted for the personal interview. So that's success, like kind of an achievement. Because making it there is also not easy. So I
Right.
felt that I was kind of lucky because I didn't really work hard, but I was lucky enough.
Right.
So I made it. I was called for the personal interview, and our personal interview was held in the month of August, I guess, in the second week or so. And in the interview part, they mainly ask you questions from academics only, a bit about yourself too, and it depends upon the panel completely if they want to ask about something else. Like another friend of mine got through. He
Hmm.
was asked about political stuff about our state, some things about the Olympics. So it completely depends upon the panelists. Like I wasn't asked about all of that at all.
Hmm. So,
I
like,
was mainly
what
asked
were
about economics.
okay? So, like, I've heard that you get the opportunity to direct the interview towards your likings and dislikings, but I've also heard that there have been some encounters where they grill you to the core. Now, what are the
Yes.
things you need to be aware of when you want to take the interview, give the interview?
Okay. So when you are giving the interview, the first thing is you actually need to know your class 11 and 12 subjects quite well. Okay, so
Hmm.
I actually prepared for my class 11 and 12 subjects more than my actual IPMAT examinations. Okay,
Okay.
so because I didn't really want to take a chance once I was shortlisted,
Hmm.
so I actually prepared. Like you don't need to know everything, right? Like they won't ask you to like write long answers or anything. They are going to just ask you things short in detail, nothing like in brief. But they just want to see whether you know the things or not. Like
Right.
you haven't left everything and just got shortlisted and they expect you to just come here and talk with you. No, it's not like that. You need to know the basics. So it as I said, it completely depends upon the panel members what they want to ask. Like they didn't really ask me about anything from maths or accounts, or anything about Olympics or politics. Whereas my other friend who got through, he had to answer maths questions, some accounts questions too, and
Hmm.
other than that, he had to answer the economics questions too. And yes, as you mentioned about the grilling stuff, yes, it happened with me.
Okay. So please
So
recount that experience for us.
okay. So basically, I will narrate the whole incident only about the interview
Sure.
process.
Sure.
So, so there were two panel members. So the first professor asked me that where am I from and what was my stream. So I said it was commerce, and then he asked about the subjects I had. So
Hmm.
I said that I had maths, accounts, economics, and other things. So the other professor was an economics professor. So he handed him,
Hmm.
asked him to like ask me the questions. So he initially began asking me simple stuff like what is law of demand. Can you draw the demand curve, explain the y-axis, x-axis stuff. Okay, so it was going nice. It was all going nice. Then after that, he started asking me what is elasticity, when it is more than one, for which
Hmm.
goods are they more than one, then what are complementary goods, what is the relation between them, how will you describe them on graph, what is the correlation between them. So what, like they want you to really at some point they want to confuse you to see your confidence level, whether you're deviating from your own answers or not. Like I
Hmm.
was asked, are you sure about that? uh, are you sure that it's the positive relation? Are they directly or opposite? Like these things they ask you, they kind of try to confuse you to see whether you can hold your own stand or not. So I was asked like pretty much 8 to 9 questions about economics. Fortunately, I was not asked any maths or accounts questions. Otherwise, I would have messed it up for sure. Because some things they asked were not really at our level, or rather in our syllabus. So I was fortunate enough to get through that. And then the previous professor again asked me about some geography stuff, which was uh, quite surprising because he initially asked me that do you know about geography and other things like history.
So
So I
what
said yes,
particularly
I
in
do have
geography
some
and
idea.
history? What particularly
Yeah, so
in
he
that
asked,
domain?
he didn't really like ask me like what vegetation, temperature, not all that
Right.
that we studied in history. in class 10. Everyone knows what all that. But he asked me like name two rivers which originate out of India, but they come into India like that, and from which country. Yeah. So about all that, he asked me the full form of SARC and
Hmm.
another thing, yeah, the bordering countries of India
Hmm.
and similar one or two things. I think
Hmm.
it was all that, and my interview was quite simple, like except for the grilling part, of course.
Hmm. How long
But
was the
it didn't
interview?
really, not really more than 8 minutes. Like I've heard people being asked questions for longer, like for even 15 minutes or so.
Okay, so tell me one thing. Apart from the academic part of it, where you have to know about the syllabus and everything in and out when it comes to class 11 and 12 and what subjects you had, when it comes to everything apart from the academic domain, what are the things you need to be aware of, like the political scenario, like the geopolitical scenario, like the economics when it comes to the world? What are the things that you need to be aware of in order to ace the interview?
Okay, so as Olympics was going on during
Hmm.
our time, so it's better like if something like that is going on, any international event which is like quite famous and quite popular among people, and you should actually have some idea if your country is also taking a part in it. And recently they had won the gold, their medals and all that. So one should have the idea of all that. And other than that, if something has happened from the state you belong to, like in West Bengal, the elections were there like 2 3 months back. So you should have some idea about all that too. Like and some other things you should know, like governor, name of the governor, chief minister, some ministers, both at the central level and the state level.
Hmm.
And other than that, any international events, if something like you mentioned, like the Afghanistan or back then it was the, I think, Israel Palestine thing also. So you should actually know about all this. Like
Hmm.
it's not like they will definitely ask you, but they can ask you. It's like that.
So you have to be in touch with the current affairs and what's going
Yes,
on in the
yes.
world.
Current affairs. Yeah, yeah. You should actually know about
Right.
the current affairs. Something about as I was asked about the bordering countries and all that. They
Hmm.
expect you to have some basic knowledge about all these things also.
Right. And do they ask you about your opinions on certain matters when it comes to politics or economics?
No, no, I don't think they really ask you about your ideology or anything. They might ask you to narrate some incident or what happened. They might ask you if you know about it or not. But I don't think they really ask you about your opinion on something.
Okay. But I've when it comes to the interview process for an MBA, when it comes to IIMs,
Yeah,
so not for the IPMAT, the after the CAT, I've
yeah,
heard
yeah.
some accounts where people were asked, "Give me your opinion on this measure taken by the central government." So,
So yeah, see if at the cat level, most people are having job experiences.
hmm,
Some people have, like most people, like everyone has a bachelor's degree, so they are more mature than us.
right.
Hardly we are like all of us are not even adults. Some have
Hmm,
not
hmm,
even reached the age of 18. So they
hmm,
don't really ask you about your political or any control that might become controversial. Like the opinions might not match with them. So
right.
they don't really ask about things and about the government policies and so. So
Hmm,
you one hasn't really learned about all that. Okay. Like
right.
in bachelor's degree, you really get to know or study about the things, so you have a
Hmm,
better idea about if it is right or wrong. At the school level, it's not like you're taught about it that in depth, so you can't really answer that. So I don't think they really ask about all that, but they
hmm.
might ask you like simple things as I mentioned about names or some incidents or all that, but they don't really ask you about anything.
Okay. Great. So we just talked about your process when it comes to the examination and the interview. We finished that part.
Yeah.
Now I want to know: is there any differentiation that's done on the basis of where from which examination you've gotten into an IIM for? Like, for example, people who've got got into an IIM from by giving the CAT, as compared to those who've gotten into an IIM by taking the IPMAT. So is there any differentiation done? Because after all, the MBA program is the same for all. That's what I believe.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't know if
yeah,
this is
yeah,
correct
yeah.
or not.
Even the IPM, like those who clear the IPM, they're after
Hmm.
the end of third year, they're mixed with the PJP batch.
Yeah.
So at that point, there really doesn't make any difference. Like
But
for the
is there any
institutions,
preference that's given to people who've cleared the CAT
preference. If you
examination?
talk about the preference, like it's given by the during the time of placements. Like it can take place during the time of placements. The institutes
Hmm.
don't really have any preference or give any priority to the to those who have cleared CAT and joined the IMs, because at the end they have only introduced the program.
Right.
So, and the IPM program is designed to like make you a better manager, because the things you are taught uh, in the first 3 years, like it's named only foundations of management. So
Right.
you can pretty much get it from the name itself. So it just makes you a better person to get into the MBA program. Like
Hmm.
in the normal scenario, most MBA in the most IIMs, if you see the composition of the crowd, most are the engineering people or from the science background. So they don't really have any idea about the finance world
Hmm.
or any managerial stuff.
Hmm.
So this program is mainly designed for that only, that you have a better understanding of the MBA thing from the very beginning. Like you
Right.
get to know about the things like so that it has been designed like that. So it depends upon the company actually, or rather during the time of placements, uh,
Hmm.
whom they want to take. Obviously, some companies prefer those who have previously like worked somewhere else or have a degree which meet their requirements. So at that time there can be some like priority or preference, but I don't think there is much of a difference between the IPM takers and the those who take the CAT and enter the IIMs.
Hmm. Right. So that's great. We've talked about so many things. One question arises in my mind, which is like I am currently pursuing BCom honors from St. Xavier's University, Kolkata. Not university, sorry, college, in
College,
Park Street.
college.
Right.
Hmm.
So if there's any first year student out there who thinks that maybe IPM will be a great option for him, because he might be thinking that okay, MBA mil jayega, MBA degree confirmed ho jayega. So because he doesn't want to give that much effort or place a bet when it comes to the CAT examination, because we already know कि
Yeah.
कितना acceptance rate होता है. So would
Hmm.
you recommend that person who's listening to us, who's currently in the first year of his course, bachelor's course, to take the IPMAT examination, and if he can convert it to make a decision and go to IIM? Would you recommend that, or would you recommend some that person to take the CAT examination after completing his graduation?
See, it completely depends on that person actually. Uh,
Okay.
as I said, for me, like I actually wanted to pursue economics. So
Hmm.
economics has I also like mathematics and statistics. So I found the similarity here, and I had other options too here. So that is the reason I chose IPM, and as I've got it, and I might not really get Hindu or SRCC this time, so I opted for IPM. So what you are talking about, like who's someone who is studying BCom in a college like St. Xavier's College,
Hmm.
uh, so I don't really think once you have got in such a St. Xavier's College is a prestigious institution in a country for BCom honors.
Hmm.
I don't really think one should leave that and prepare for IPMAT. So for those, as I mentioned, who are planning to take drops, or like they should not really sit idle in home and then prepare for. They should actually get a college and study for 1 year, like any college. If your main target is IPM, then but you have, as you mentioned, you have already got St. Xavier's College.
Hmm.
So it's I would say it's better to complete the 3 years there and then go for CAT. It would be a
Right.
better option for you.
Right.
It actually depends upon you too,
Hmm.
because IPM, as I said, it is more like economics honors with a bit more. like it obviously has less economics than an economics honors, but you have a lot more mathematics and statistics. But
Right.
compared to BCom has more like law and finance and accounting stuff. It
Right.
doesn't have that much of maths or statistics. So it completely depends upon you, what you actually
Right.
want to study.
Yeah. Well said. Well said. So that's great. We've talked about so many things. Now I'm sure our viewers will benefit a lot from this conversation. Now
Yeah,
let's get a bit less serious now. I mean, we'll talk about serious matters, but in a less serious way. We've talked about the college process, the process of getting into IIMs and IPMAT, and your journey. Now let's talk about the geopolitical scenario in the world that's going on. I mean, what's happening in Afghanistan, man? It's all over the news.
yeah. I don't think like it's futile to talk about it now, because like two people sitting in Kolkata won't make any difference. Like
Right.
if the American president can't do anything, then what can we do? So
Right.
it's if I still have to keep my personal opinion, it's just sad. I don't really have any other words. The
Right.
president of a country, of the so-called democratic country, fleeing, and suddenly a terrorist organization is running the country, and you think about the whole scenario, like those images of the video clips of
Hmm.
the plane taking off and people falling from the plane. It shows what is the condition over there.
Right.
So there's no use of talking about it. Like the how the women are being treated there now,
Right. Right.
how every right will be
Yeah.
snatched from the people, and like
Right.
there can be anything. So and we don't really even know what it is. And
Hmm.
it's very hard to comment even like what if the Americans did the right thing to pull away their troops, and even
Hmm.
the other countries doing the same. It's really
Right.
hard to say.
Right. I did some research on this. So most probably one of the I mean this might be a conspiracy theory, but I have done
Yeah,
some research on it. So US is actually, you know about this, right? China is increasing their naval power.
yeah.
Yeah. So their power is increasing. They are becoming more and more of a threat. And US, I've heard many of their resources were locked up in Afghanistan. And now that maybe their benefit from Afghanistan is not as much as they wanted it to be. Now there's no reason for them to keep in Afghanistan. Now this might have a geopolitical implication in the sense कि अगर वो लोग अभी pull off कर ली. Now Afghanistan is under Taliban, right? Let Afghanistan be under Taliban for 5 to 6 years, and China being an expansionist communist country, now they will get their eyes on Afghanistan. And when they enter Afghanistan, US will come back. I mean, this might be one of the things. Now we are just speculating right now, but it's quite interesting to know about what's happening in Afghanistan and US and China.
Yeah, see, same. See, even like Pakistan is so-called like the voting happens. There is the prime minister, president, and everything. But we know the army runs the country, and
Hmm.
even that is also indirectly controlled by China only. So the
Right,
same thing is going to happen in Afghanistan, and America is also kind of funding Pakistan also. So they are
right.
not really like if they want and they can clear things up, but they didn't really do that. So the
Right.
same thing might probably happen with Afghanistan too. And we all
Hmm.
know that China is openly supporting. I think it was the one of the first countries to recognize the Taliban government there.
Hmm. Right.
So they are obviously going to go there. And what I have read in some reports that Afghanistan is also rich in resources and everything. So
Hmm.
they might obviously try to go and
Hmm.
rule there for their economy only, because that's they
Right.
want. That's what they want.
Right. And I've heard about this string of pearls being created by China in the Indian Ocean to,
Yeah, yeah.
for a threat
Yeah,
to India.
obviously, yeah. It's obviously India is the only country like right now, being
Right.
the neighboring country. It will
Hmm.
obviously pose a threat to it in the near
Hmm.
future. So that's the only way they can actually harm India by like they have already started the expansion process through Sri Lanka, through
Right.
Pakistan, now Afghanistan. So they are actually trying to surround India from all the
Hmm.
sides. That's their plan basically. It's now clear now.
And I am not so sure about their recent alliance with Russia. I mean, they've been enemies for such a long time. I mean, there was a time in 1960s when Russia was almost going to launch a nuclear attack on China, but it was US that intervened and gave a threat to Russia that if you nuke China, then the consequences will be bad. So that's what stopped them. Now I don't know what
It's
is it.
quite funny, like America stopping Russia from nuking and all that.
Right, right, exactly. There's a big game going on.
Yeah, it's just hard to comment. We will see what happens in the coming years. It's just getting started now, so the results will be out later.
Right, right. That's amazing, man. Okay, okay, man. We've had a really good discussion today, and I
Yeah,
hope
yeah,
we have more such discussions in the days to
yeah, yeah.
come or in
Sure,
the weeks to
sure.
come.
If Yeah, sure. If I can help anyone like who is going to take the exam next year or anything about like
Hmm.
see if you can clear IPMAT, then I'm pretty sure you can clear the other exams too.
Hmm.
So because it's one of the hardest, like the most difficult exams in the term of like in terms of commerce related courses. So
Hmm.
I guess it's gonna help a lot of people if they
Right.
really like understand what I try to say.
Hmm. So just
And I'm
one thing.
looking forward to discuss with you
Hmm.
these things more
Right.
because you are a great speaker and you like to discuss these things which will help others. So I'm
Hmm.
grateful that you asked me to come and talk
I'm
about
humble.
this.
I'm humble. Thank you so much for coming on this episode, man. And we'll have more
Thank you.
conversations, two more
Yeah, yeah,
conversations.
great.
Chalo.
Yeah, thank you, man. Thank
Thanks,
you.
man.